play this towards my microphone and then they'll hear it. They'll love it. They will love.
Yeah, he's like, I want to connect with my tech entrepreneur, and I was like, well, your title says about growth and sales. So.
Yeah. Oh. If I sit really still, people think we're frozen. Ah, joking. We're 2 minutes early, right? So give everyone time to join.
Yeah.
Let's schedule for 30 minutes. Just schedule for 30 minutes.
It is, yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Tell me when you see people. Turn it down to 80.
Filtering in now.
People are filtering in?
Yeah.
Brilliant. How many have we got on there?
2, 3 at the moment.
Okay. So it's literally a minute too, so that's good.
What was your question?
People, no, I'm just saying people are arriving in. That's good.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So we'll give them a few minutes just to all join. Well, if you're just joining us, we will get started in a moment. We're just going to wait and give everyone a few seconds, a few more minutes to join the call, join the webinar. And if you wouldn't mind, if you feel like it, it is Thursday, it's nearly the weekend, so be good. Stick your name and say hi in the chat if you wouldn't mind, just so we know who you are. And if I know you, we've met and I remember you. I'm getting old, that's getting tricky. But if I do, I shall shout out to you. Also makes, if there's anything wrong with the reception, if we're not coming through properly, if there's a sound issue, a quality issue, again, put it in the chat for us, and the good folks here in the office will scurry around and do their best to improve it and fix it. So keep it going. Any chat names? No chat yet? No chat yet, okay. We'll give it another minute or two. Okay. While we're waiting, for those who are on the call, if you're an accountant, this is something that will be all too familiar to you. It might bring some of you out in a cold sweat, so apologies. But listen to this, just a little something music to keep you entertained while we're waiting for people to join. I know there was a stat for calls and drop calls, so we just multiply that by the number of hours.
Thanks for waiting.
There we go.
One of our advisors will be with you as soon as possible.
Classic. Anyway, I won't do that anymore because it's just, I'm sure it's going to kill some people just to hear that one last time. But there you go. So, any chats, Aaron?
No.
Nothing? Fantastic.
Ready to go.
We're all ready to go? Okay, we've got a few joined anyway. So we'll make a start. A lot of people will sign up and register for these things and then watch it on the playback anyway. So that's absolutely fine. So let's hit it, Amy. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever and whenever you're watching this from. God, that sounded a bit like a Two Ronnies sketch, which was strange, but I'm showing my age there. Hopefully some of you will have got that reference. But if you're too young, please go on YouTube, just search for Two Ronnies, or actually search for Four Candles, as in four candles, or fork handles. Anyway, welcome to our webinar. This is part 2 of 3 in our State of Accounting Automation update. And this one is about the process of successfully using automation and AI in your accounting firm. But bottom line, you're all really busy people. You've just come out of the you need to know what I'm not to you and it matters. So whether you're listening live now or to the recording, you all know the accountants love tech for the most part, and they love a well-run business, and that's what you help your clients to do. But like it or not, the next decade is going to be dominated or driven by bots and AI. And accountants are definitely not finding it easy to implement this technology successfully. So I'm going to tell you how. I'm going to give you some answers, hopefully, not just today, but if you get in touch with me, I'll happily also spend as much time on the phone or Teams or whatever it is and give you the benefit of my wisdom and scars from years of experience and mistakes. So you just have to take the first step. So I'm going to flick through these slides. I'm doing it myself. I can multitask. So we recently completed our 2025 State of Accounting Automation Survey. Some of you may have taken part in that, and thank you if you did. And overall, the results say that the appetite for bots and AI is really high, with adoption the highest among micro firms and large firms at the moment. Among the many different tools used, the most popular were, not surprisingly, ChatGPT, a bit of Zapier, a bit of Microsoft Copilot, and Beanie Bots. Thank you very much to our customers for that one. And of the tasks that accountants automated the most were client communications as the highest use case, not surprisingly, again, ChatGPT, followed by a real major uptake in bookkeeping and data entry. But it's not all rosy. And in the survey, accountants were asked what was holding them back? What was holding back their adoption of automation and AI? And they said that time, or lack of it, was the #1 obstacle. Now, some people have trust issues, which always comes back for me, I think, for knowledge. Some said cost was an obstacle, which again comes back to knowledge. And finally, they said that they simply didn't possess enough knowledge just overall, just knowing what it's all about. So looking at those results and the feedback that we got in the survey, telling me that knowledge is the single biggest underlying cause and issue. Hence why we do webinars like these. So in this second obstacles today, and we're going to see if we can give some helpful advice for accountants and how they can advance their adoption and implementation of automation and AI in their practices. So let's look at the first barrier that accountants had with adoption, and that was cost. So overall, over 30% said that cost was a barrier, and of all the large firms surveyed, nearly 30% of them said that cost was their second highest barrier, which I can to a degree understand, mostly because larger firms have more complex requirements, different customer bases, so they have more unique processes. They also have kind of legacy systems, some even not even on the cloud. So that tends to add time and cost to things. So, but ultimately, I think we need to dig a bit deeper to understand those barriers better, so that we can help accountants to overcome the obstacles that they're finding. Trust levels up here also. Forgetting to flip my own slides. I said I could multitask and I forget. But trust issues also came up as a major issue. Some real confidence challenges going on out there. There appears to definitely be a little bit of skepticism, with some people sitting on the fence and being a little bit unsure, and a very small percentage, to be honest, saying that they absolutely no trust at all of automation and AI. And those trust issues stem from concerns with transparency, with accuracy and privacy, but also integration issues with the automation AI. And so those are the things that we need to address. Those are the things that I'm here to try and help accountants overcome. And how do we do that? How do we address that? How do we reduce distrust? We do that by increasing knowledge. So, was the number one obstacle. And that's been holding back over 50% of the respondents on the survey from adopting automation and AI, either at all or as much as they really wanted to. So from people's feedback, the time restrictions included not only the lack of time to research what to automate and what tools to use, but also just a lack of time to actually get them implemented once they've chosen tools. And that could be due to sort of several different reasons, but from experience, from what I'm finding, when I speak to different firms, I find nearly 100% of the time, people generally just don't know quite how to implement it or quite how to adopt it as successfully as they expect. And now there is a little science and a little art to it, and that ultimately ties back to, again, a lack of knowledge. So there's a really common theme that's emerged from the survey that we did. And then finally, our survey also revealed a general lack of knowledge, just about the market, about everything about it. Expertise, really, a lack of expertise was a big impact for firms and their ability to adopt and scale automation and AI. And the issue was reported by 100% of micro through to small firms, so everything from solo up to 10 people. But it didn't seem to be as much of an issue for large firms, which was surprising for me because it's contrary to what I've found to be truth in practice. So, lots of good findings, lots of good information and data. So our State of Accounting Automation survey has revealed that major obstacle from holding firms back and getting successful adoption is knowledge. The knowledge of why, what, how, and a BFT, to be honest with you, a bots for that here. We've been doing this consistently for years, and it works whether you're a solo practitioner or a top 10 firm. We use it to establish a clear purpose with really tangible goals and timelines. We use it to build trust, to select what to automate and what kind of solution to use, and then how to implement it successfully. And to be honest, it's not rocket science, it really isn't. But as with many things in life and in business, it's simple but not always easy. But it doesn't need to be as difficult as you think, and it doesn't need to be as difficult as some people are finding. So today, I'm going to share our approach with you. So starting with step one. First step, acquiring foundational knowledge about both the problem you're trying to solve or the goal you're trying to attain. Also though, about the art of the possible with automation and AI. And the biggest adoption roadblock for successful adoption is knowledge. So firms struggled with understanding really why to automate, what to automate, and how to do it. So remember, I think I said it was like over 30% of firms lacked that real knowledge or expertise to implement it, and that 100% of small micro firms reported it as a major challenge. So step one is acquiring knowledge. Start with your why. That's the most important thing of all. That's your why. Why do it? That gives you your guiding star. And don't just say productivity. So if you ask one of your clients what their business goals are for the next 12 months and they answered success, well, you're not going to accept that. You're going to dig deeper and ask them. You're going to say, well, what do you define as success? And it's the same thing here. So for example, in the next 6 months, let's say you want to reduce your average time to serve for bookkeeping clients and services by 25%. You want to increase your available time for advisory services by 50%. And you want to reduce your operating cost for bookkeeping services by 15%. Just throwing those numbers out there, but examples. But then you've got something tangible, a sense of purpose, a real North Star that's going to guide you along and help you make decisions. And when you're laying the foundations, it really does also help to know whether you want to build a bungalow or a skyscraper, because you've got to put the foundations for the right one. So define your why, understand your possible, check your red, and most importantly also develop your digital acumen. Step two, we work on building trust. And remember, mistrust of automation and AI stemmed from uncertainty. So where the larger firms showed more confidence, but the smaller firms remained skeptical. So the key to overcoming this is transparency, accuracy with results, so that people trust that it gets things right, and quite simply, just hands-on experience. So start small at first. Whether it's bots or AI, understand how they operate and determine outcomes that you need. What does success look like? Track their performance and the results, especially outcomes that you didn't anticipate or expect. And finally, identify any connectivity or compatibility issues with your systems and your bots and AI. And then feedback everything into that system to correct and enhance your approach. Step 3. This is where we choose what to automate and build those into a pipeline. However, not everything is, should or could and can be necessarily automated. The key is to prioritize those things, those processes, those tasks and activities that bring the highest return on, say, efficiency and value, or those really that help you deliver on your goals, like the ones I said, 15% reduce in operating costs, for example. But whatever your why might be, that's what it is. It's easiest to start with the tasks that you can really easily measure the cost of doing manually, but also don't overlook compliance tasks and especially client impacting work, a little bit less quantifiable. Things like notifications and reminders and chasers, which are a really great place to start. And this is where I'll introduce our ESSAM, ESSAM framework. And this just to ensure that you don't just lift and shift your work, but instead you move and improve it. So that takes me on to step 4. And I'll walk you through our ESSAM framework, because in the implementation phase, having the right tools is just one part of that equation. Really successful implementation requires a few things. It requires good strategy, it requires brilliant execution, it requires good measurement. We start with the process blueprint, and you define the as-was work before moving on to the will be. And that's the view of the work that the bots will be doing and the AI will be doing for you. And as you do that, you will find parts of work that you eliminate altogether, you'll find parts that you simplify, and you'll find parts that you standardize. And this is all part of the correct or preferred or recommended enterprise automation methodology, whatever you're doing. And like everything, we then measure the results and the outcomes. And then that feedback and the outcomes go back in to enhance and get continuous improvement and improve what you're doing all the time. So, to bring that all to life with a real-life case study, this one actually reflects a summary of 2 very similar cases that we worked on, but with 2 different extremes. As one was a very large-sized firm with thousands of clients, and the other was a small-sized firm with just a couple hundred. But that just highlights that the true scalability of automation and AI. But also, even if you're a large firm, you only start with a couple hundred and you build your way up. So anyway, this case study involved client follow-ups and reminders. Everyone does them, we know. So things like missing source docs, receipts, invoices, once for monthly accounts, once for annual AML chasers, all of which consume a huge amount of people's time. And they have a knock-on effect on the bookkeeping process and the accounts process. It back-end loads your work and your time, that things that you need to do. And overall, it just makes you, and it made both these firms much less efficient and productive as they could be. But once those daily, weekly and monthly tasks were automated using a combination of bots and AI and following that framework, the ESSAM, it freed up significant time and produced a much better client experience. The good thing is those savings can go straight to the bottom line. But that's when it gets really interesting. So, because the benefits and the gains can begin to compound. So firstly, you've now got a repeatable framework, a process for implementing automation and AI successfully. You're building trust, so that's going to remove friction. And your firm is more easily scalable, and the time saved can be reassigned to much more valuable work. And that's exactly what happened in this case. That time was added up and put on more valuable strategic work. So it's time to wrap up. In summary, have a clear purpose that's something that everybody can understand and galvanize around. Build a very strong foundation of knowledge and trust. Follow a process automation framework like Assam. Something else similar if you got. But start small, measure, scale from there, and remember, this tech it really must empower and free you as accountants and firm owners. You need to worry less about what it takes away and more about what you can gain from it. And finally, if you're free and want to learn more, you can join me for the final episode in this series, which will be streaming, I think, just after the digital accounting show in April 1st to 2nd. If you're there, come and see us, stand C16. And we'll look at the final piece in this puzzle for successful automation and AI, and that's the technology itself. And I'll take you through what will be, I think, an AI-powered decade for accounting. So, before we close, is there any questions, Aaron, that you've seen through on the chat?
No questions.
Cool. Okay, folks. Well, that's all for today. I wanted to keep it short and sweet. You're tired from January. There's lots of things to do. I hope you enjoyed the webinar. Please let me know either way if you did or you didn't. If you're watching this as a replay on YouTube, thank you. But don't like, don't comment, don't subscribe unless you really want to. I won't be offended much. Anyway, take care and keep automating. Are we done? Are we off?
Just give it a minute.
Okay.
Let the stream finish.
Shall I play the HMRC music for everybody again?
No, it's out of it.
I know they love a bit of that. I mean, who doesn't love a bit of HMRC's famous hold music? Here we go. Especially for you. We're going to put this on as our hold music for the company. I love it so much. And then what we'll do is we'll just drop the call after a certain amount of time, same way HMRC do. Just ignore people. And then our call rates go up. Brilliant. Masterful, masterful stroke.
Thanks for waiting.
Thanks for waiting.
One of our advisors will be with
Not
you
be
as
with
soon
you
as
shortly,
possible.
because we don't care. Hopefully it's going to be replaced by ChatGPT soon, so you won't